2025 had a lot of incredible game releases. Today we're going to take a look at my top games of this year. You may be wondering, who is this guy and why do I care about what his best games of 2025 were? Well, the answer is simple. I'm a nobody and I just thought this would be a fun video to do. I want to preface this by saying I will only be ranking games that I actually played. So I'm sorry if you're here to see games like Silksong, Donkey Kong Bonanza, or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm not saying they aren't worthy of a top games list, they just won't be on mine because I never actually tried them. I conveniently played 10 games that released this year, so let's take a look at my top 10 for 2025. Starting off at number 10 is Lego Party. I was very excited for this game when it was originally announced. I have played a lot of Mario Party with my two kids, so I was looking forward to having something new to try out and for it to be on PlayStation 5. But about halfway through our first game, the kids were over it. It doesn't have the same charm as Mario Party and it doesn't have recognizable characters, which takes away from the excitement for smaller kids. I think it would be a fun game to play with friends though, so maybe I'll get another opportunity to give it a shot. For my number 9, which I promise this is not rage bait, is Elden Ring Night Rain. Night Rain is by no means a bad game, but it just wasn't a game for me. I am not a huge fan of FromSoft games. In fact, I don't think I've ever actually been able to finish one. But I was looking forward to a co-op multiplayer PvE game that I could play with my two brothers. They both enjoyed this one a lot more than I did, and I was just happy to be along for the ride. My number 8 game of the year is Assassin's Creed Shadows. I am a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series and have played and completed every mainline game of the series. But this one was a drag. The world is beautiful and I liked playing as Naoe and sneaking around, but the story was a total miss for me and the game overall felt too repetitive without being rewarding. I usually like the Ubisoft checklist style games, but I was happy when this one was over and to close it for good. Even though I didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped, it didn't stop me from getting the platinum after almost 52 hours. Coming in at number 7 is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. I thoroughly enjoyed this game for the 23 hours I spent with it while earning the platinum. It had just the right mix of stealth and action 1 minute and then being completely bonkers the next. The platinum itself was a ton of fun to go for and required multiple playthroughs with specific goals in mind. I really hope they continue to remake other games from the Metal Gear Solid series because I'll be in for it every single time. At number 6 is Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is quickly becoming my go-to game when I want to just sit down and chill at the end of the day. It is the first extraction shooter I have played and I'm loving it. I know it didn't invent the genre, but it has been the most accessible to me so far. I am still very early in the game as I have not progressed as much as I'd like to have by this point, but I'll keep chipping away at it. I see myself playing this one for a while. Number 5 is Marvel Rivals. This game was my addiction for the month of February and the beginning of this year. I absolutely loved it in a way I did not expect. I am not an Overwatch fan, and this is extremely similar to that with a coat of Marvel paint on it, but I enjoyed every second of this game. The platinum was very challenging but extremely rewarding, and was honestly the most fun I've ever had chasing one. Having to get a trophy with each character made it fun to get better with each hero. I got distracted with other games, but this is one I still feel the pull to get back to. Number 4 is a game that was in early access for a long time, had its official 1.0 release on PC at the end of last year, but came to console this year. I know it's kind of cheating to have it on my 2025 list, but this is my video and I get to make up the rules. Satisfactory is a game that scratches the resource gathering and automation factory building itch that I have always had. Personally, I play this game with enemies set to passive so I can just take my time and build cool factories. Despite having hundreds of hours in this game, I have never been able to finish it. By the time I get to the late game, I get overwhelmed with the material needs for the end game space elevator parts and take a break. When I eventually do come back, which I always do, I start over rather than pick up where I left off. Maybe one day I'll finish it, and now that it is on PlayStation 5, this would be an ultimate chase for a platinum trophy. My top 3 games are pretty interchangeable, and very difficult for me to actually rank them. I'll be honest, I almost did 3 number 1s, but I'm not going to do that. So, taking the number 3 spot is Ghost of Yotei. I thought this game was outstanding, and it absolutely consumed me from the time I started playing it until I finished it. While I thought Ghost of Tsushima was a good game, I feel this sequel improved in every single way. The combat is incredibly satisfying, The World of Ezo and the Revenge Story were awesome. I feel like this game deserves a lot more praise than it has been getting. My second favorite game this year goes to Expedition 33. I love this game. I didn't know anything about it going into it, and it really caught me by surprise. The turn-based combat was outstanding, and the story and world were great. I kind of wish they went a different direction to explain what was going on in the story, but ultimately it didn't take away from how great the game actually is. I finished the story around 31 hours and played another 8-ish hours or so to get the platinum. By the end, I was so overpowered it made all the super bosses very easy, where I could kill them before they even got a turn. I am looking forward to giving this another replay in the future. Finally, my number one game for 2025 is Death Stranding 2. This game is just incredible in a way that is difficult to describe. It's crazy to think that I almost didn't play the first Death Stranding because I thought it was going to be a horror game and I just don't do scary stuff. But both the original and the sequel are some of the most enjoyable games I have ever played. Death Stranding 2 is another sequel that improves upon its predecessor in almost every aspect. The gameplay was so good and so rewarding. I was drawn into the story all the way through until the end, and I continued to do my deliveries well past the post-game and earn the platinum after 84 hours. I will always be fond of Death Stranding 2 as the game that pushed me over the edge to start making videos about my journeys through the games I love. So there it is, my top 10 games of 2025. I'd love to hear what you think about my list and why it's wrong. Tell me about your own top 10 list for the year. What games stood out to you in 2025, and what games did I really miss out on by not playing? I'd love to have you join me for what 2026 brings, so please subscribe for more platinum journeys. I very much look forward to seeing what next year brings for video games and this channel.